कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकि कोकिलम्। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताया पतये नमः। जयत्याश्रितसन्त्रास ध्वान्तविध्वंसनोदयः प्रभावान् सीतया देव्या परमव्योमभास्करः परमव्योमभास्करः।
श्रीमते निगमान्त महादेशिकाय नमः। Hanuman tried advising Ravana. He said, Nahi dharma viruddheshu bhakvapayeshu karmasu मूलघातिषु सज्जन्ते बुद्धिमन्तो भवद्विधाः. You are a very learned man, Ravana. You are also Rakshasa Rajendra. You are the king of Rakshasas. You are a king. You should be guiding your subjects in the path of dharma. You yourself should not take to the path of adharma. A wise man such as you will always listen to the other person. Whatever be the person could be of low caliber. But you should still listen, see if there is any welfare merit in it. As Hanuman continues, he says, Satyam Rakshasa Rajendra. What I have spoken is the truth. Kurushva vachanam mama. Do what I say. Ramadatas dasasya dutasya. Because I am the messenger. I am subservient to that great Rama. Ramadasasya dutasya Vānarasya visheshataha. Vānarasya visheshataha. You may call me a monkey. You may call me a Vānara. That's okay. But still I am the messenger and I am the great devotee of Rama. So listen to what I say. But you may ask, why did you do all of this? Remember, Ravana, I am a Vānara. I have risen from my Vānara kulam and I am trying to advise you. Even then, I still continue to remain Vānara. So I have done all of this. That is when Ravana gets extremely angry. He says that this Vānara should be killed. Well, all of them in the Sabha Mantapam say, yes, he should be killed. That is when the fine Dharmatma called as Vibhishana stands. He says, you cannot kill a person who has come as a messenger from another Pradesham. I'm sure all of you may be able to remember a certain incident that occurred in the year 2019. I don't wish to get into the details or the politics into it. But you must have remembered an incident between Bharatadesham and its close neighbor. In that skirmish, what happened was, some of the Bharatiya forces, especially the Air Force, they crossed the line of control and they had to attack certain camps that were not doing good for the general public. So in that scenario, you must have heard about one of those fighter jets from Bharatadesham with its pilot was caught by the residents, the villagers of the neighboring nation. There was a big hue and cry about it, whether he will be killed, whether he will be guillotined, whether he will be imprisoned. That is why I am not getting into the merits of what happened. But there was a Geneva Convention which was cited. It is a rule, an international rule that was cited, that if a representative who is a diplomat, who is an ambassador, who is an army person from the close by country crosses the border, he should be handed over back to the messenger or the ambassador's native country. So this rule was cited why I am bringing this rule is, this was cited in 2023 in Kali Yugam. We are dealing with Treta Yugam. Roughly, even by historians' date, it will go to around 5000 BC. Around 7000 years before, we were talking about an incident where Hanuman from one Desham, Bharata Desham, goes to the neighboring Desham, which is Lanka. While he was caught, and there was a big issue about whether he should be beheaded, killed, burnt, that is when Dharmatma Vibhishana stands, because Vibhishana was a repository of all Dharma Sutras. He stood up and said, see, we cannot kill the ambassador of a neighboring nation. All that we can do is to mutilate him, do some kind of a punishment, like how Rama gave a punishment to the crow. We can give some kind of a punishment and send him back. So he says, Asamshayam shatruratham pravriddha kritam hyanena priyamaprameyam na dutavadhyam pravadanti santo dutasya drishta bahavo hi dandaha vairupyamangeshu kashabhigato maundyam tata lakshana sannipataha etan hi dute pravadanti dandan vadhastu dutasya nanah shrutosti. So, here we see how Vibhishana cited the dharmam and said you cannot kill him. At most you can mutilate him, because that will bring some kind of a remorse in that person. Give him time for that course correction. This is what Vibhishana stood up and said. Ravana now thought, earlier he never listened to anybody. Now he thought that there is some merit in what Vibhishana says. Vibhishana is a very learned person, even Ravana acknowledged. That is when he said, I agree with what Vibhishana said. All the other people in the Sabha Mantapam were surprised, because very rarely Ravana would listen to Vibhishana's advice. He said, I agree with what Vibhishana said. Let us mutilate this monkey, but we will do it in a different way. For a Vānara, for a Kapi, the most prestigious portion, generally, when we have to tell the other person, signal the other person, gesture the other person that the person has got good brains, you'll say, very good. You'll hit here and say, very good. Similarly, if you go ask a Kapi, a Vānara, what do you like about yourself the most? It will take its tail and say, I love the tail the most. You remember in Sundara Kandam, when Hanuman mistook Mandodari to be Sita, what he did? Aspotayamasa chuchumba pucham. He gave a kiss, kept on kissing his tail. Chuchumba pucham. Pucham is tail. So he kissed his tail. So for a Kapi, the tail is the most prestigious part. Of course, those of us who speak the Bharatiya languages, one of the languages from Bharata Desham, we will be amused. What will we be amused? See, I remember in my Tamil household, while as a child I used to be very mischievous. You know what people say? Nalla val. Val in Tamil means tail. Nalla val means you are a monkey. So we use the word tail and monkey to say something which is abusive. But trust me, for a Vānara, the tail is a very prestigious part. So Ravana, who heeded to the advice of Vibhishana, thought, I must disturb this monkey in its most prestigious part. Which is the prestigious part for the Vānara? It is the tail. So he said, Kapinam kilalangulam ishtam bhavati bhushanam tadasa dipyatam shighram tena dagdhena gacchatu. So he said, let us now burn its tail. Now, Vibhishana, who is a Dharmatma, stood up and said, you should not kill, you can mutilate. Why should Vibhishana even do this? Because he knew only if Rama's greatest devotee is attacked, humiliated, Rama will have the urge to come and fight this Ravana. So it was in a way to establish dharmam, dharma samsthapanarthaya. Vibhishana thought the only way to bring Rama here, coax him to come here, was because Rama would say, why should I interfere in the internal politics of the other country? Well, only when your devotee is hurt, you will come here. That was the idea. Now, what happened to Hanuman? The moment this judgment was pronounced, all the demons and demonesses in Lanka started collecting various clothes because you have to burn the tail. See, a tail will generally have some ability to not get burnt because there will be some blood and this going within the tail. So you need some fueling material. So they started bringing clothes from here and there. They took clothes from their cupboards, clothes from the ropes, wherever it was being hung for it to get dry. They brought all the clothes, covered Hanuman's tail with those clothes and dipped it in all possible lubricants, maybe oil, ghee, whatever you think. So all that it was dipped. வீட்டின் பூசல் நெடும் பாசம் மற்ற தேரும் வீசி துறந்த மாட்டும் புறவி ஆயமெல்லாம் மருவினாங்கும் தோடை அழிந்த பூட்டும் வல்லின் மூட்டோடும் புரசை இழந்த போர் யானை தமக்கு இயந்த பேணிற்கு இயையும் மங்களத்திற்கு பிணிந்த கயிற்றே இடை பிழைத்த. So the rope which was used to tie the cow, the calf, the bulls, the buffaloes, every rope was taken, every cloth was taken, tied to the tail, and then it had to be burnt. Now, here comes the shlokam. When Hanuman's tail was burnt, what did Hanuman do with it? Hanuman could have immediately gone to a close by water body, dipped his tail in that particular fire and got the fire extinguished. But what he did a very modern thing. We are all social media children, right? What do we all know in social media? Whether to verify or not, share that information. Share, S-H-A-R-E, share is the norm. So he thought, whatever I have received, I have to share it with the entire Lanka, and he started sharing the fire. Even while sharing the fire, he followed the Dharma Shastram. He says, Varjayitva Mahateja Vibhishana Griham Prati Kramamana Kramenaiva Tadaha Hari Pungavaha. He spared the little children, the very old people, women, and the house of Vibhishana. He did not want to commit a Bhagavata Apacharam. So he spared those houses and burnt the entire city. How did the entire Lanka look now when it was getting burnt? Hanumata Vegavata Vānarena Mahatmana Lanka Puram Pradagdham Tat Rudrena Tripuram Yatha. When the Tripuras, the three sons of Tarakasura, Tarakaksha, Kamalaksha, Vidyunmali, they all received boons from Brahma and created three Puras. Those were disturbing the common pitiable subjects. That is when they all sought refuge in Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva sat on a chariot which had the power of earth. Its wheels had the radiance of the sun and the moon. The horses had the ability of the four Vedas. The charioteer was akin to Brahma. The bow was that of Meru. The arrow was that of Vishnu. The tip of the arrow was fire or Sudarshana, and it was released. So all the three Puras got burnt. So he is called Tripurantakaya. So like how Lord Shiva burnt the Tripuras, Rudramsha Hanuman burnt the entire Lanka. While the entire Lanka was burning, that is when these Rakshasis went to Sita and said, see, we saw that Vānara talking to you. You were talking to that Vānara so lovingly, right? You know what our king has done? He has burnt its tail. And they all jumped in joy. Yes, that Hanuman's tail has been burnt. Sita started shedding tears. She said, what sin has that Vānara committed? It was the Duta of Rama and carried the message of Rama to prevent me from committing suicide, to give me motivation. Why should Hanuman undergo all of this? That is when she said, Yadi kinchid anukroshastasya mayasti dhimataha yadi va bhagya yeshesho meshito bhava hanumataha yadi mam vritta sampannam tatsamagamalasam savijanati dharmatma shito bhava hanumataha yadyasti pati shushrusha yadyasti charitam tapaha yadiva tveka patnitvam shito bhava hanumataha. Sita said these verses. Sir, what do these verses mean? What happened to Hanuman's tail? Poor Hanuman, he has got burnt, right? We will all be very tensed. But don't worry. Something of a great miracle is going to happen in the next episode. Dear Astika reader, I am happy to be authoring a 2-part book on the Ramayana in English. The first part is slated for release in the year 2024. The book aims to recreate and retell the Ramayana of Valmiki, conforming to the ancient commentaries and other allied literature. To receive notifications of the book release, kindly register with www.deshikadaya.org/books. Namaskaram.